What is going on, guys? It is your boy Az. We are back here. Today we're going to be talking about the Scourge traits and kind of a prediction from my end of things, and I'm not 100% sure how accurate it will be, but obviously we do know that Scopely does like to follow a general pattern, and of course it has been confirmed now that Red Hulk will be the next horseman, and of course the first male horseman that we're aware of. And his Scourge will be next, as well as Morgan Le Fay. Her Scourge will be coming back up, so it's nice for us because that also means if for those of you that might have missed her the first time around, you can get her now unlocked, and for those that already had her and then you want to get her up leveled and tiered more, then that's great because you're gonna be able to get more shards on her. I guess you could have purchased her orb as well, but it was a pretty crappy orb. Obviously, if you didn't have any issues with spending money or anything like that, you probably would have been able to get her anyways. But free is free, so we'll take those free shards when we get a chance and when we get the time to. And in that, of course, because her Scourge is coming, it's also nice to kind of get a little recap. The first time when we did it, of course, the first couple of nodes, as you guys can see here, were heroes. So using characters like Shang-Chi, Eternals, those are really rock solid. And of course, because the node 5 and 10 require those very specific trait characters, Web Warriors and Dark Hunters, you could actually use the Web Warriors in the first couple of the early nodes as well to kind of get their abilities up, to kind of get yourself ready for node 5. So that was kind of nice. And then, of course, once you get through nodes 1 and 2, you go into global characters like Emma Frost, Doom, Secret Avengers. Those did so well in that game mode, so that was really solid. And then, of course, like I said already about node 5 and 10, requiring those very specific character teams like Dark Hunters and Web Warriors. And then nodes 6 and 7 required villains. And then finally, we finished off with Cosmic. And I think a lot of people just used Eternals, Infinity Watch, lots of great Cosmic teams. Kestrel, and of course now the revamped Asgardians as well would be in that mix. Rogue, we just had her Scourge. First couple of nodes were City, and then of course Mutants. Followed after, we had the Young Avengers with the A-Force and the Inhumans. And not really sure if anybody really did too much on the Inhumans or the A-Force members, but Young Avengers could pretty much get you through as long as you had a beefed up Black Bolt to take that first node 5 hit. And then same thing with node 10, the Young Avengers could one-shot that last node. And then 6 and 7 for the Rogue Scourge was Villains, which is funny because Villains was also in the Morgan Le Fay Scourge. So interesting they repeated that. And then, of course, as you can see here, they kind of repeated the Cosmic category as well, but they got a little more specific in the Rogue Scourge by having a subcategory of Mystic in there. So a little bit less characters to pick from, but of course it still wasn't an issue because there was still a lot of great Cosmic characters we can choose from. And now with the Red Hulk Scourge being announced and him confirmed as the third horseman, and this is kind of where my prediction comes into play now. But we know now nodes 5 and 10, they're going to have those very specific character trait teams. So Asgardians, that was already confirmed. Wave 1 Avengers and the Ravagers are the new crew that are being added. So of course, depends on what the character nodes are going to be like, but I feel like all three of those teams are fairly well balanced. I would say out of the three, it's really hard to pinpoint which ones you should focus on because I myself probably have them all sort of kind of in the same category as fairly sustainable. They've got a ton of control, lots of controls. There's some stuns. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. This is the first time we've gotten three fairly balanced teams. For me, obviously, I think out of the three, the Wave 1 Avengers might be the weak link. And then I'm not 100% sure because the Ravagers are actually pretty good as well, but I don't have mine leveled up, so I can't really comment on that. And then of course Asgardians is the best team I've got, and I'm not 100% sure which one's the best. As you guys can see, like it's a pretty interesting point. I'm not really sure on whether or not they are gonna, once the data mine shows hopefully what waves we're gonna be up against, we might need a combination of the three teams, or maybe hopefully, one or two of them. Unfortunately, in the Rogue Scourge, I made the mistake of trying to work on my A-Force and Young Avengers, and it ended up being like you only needed the one team. So really hope that doesn't happen again, where you level up 3 teams or 2 teams and you only need the one. So I guess we'll see. But anyways, as you guys can see here, they do have a pattern. So I mean, just based off of the first couple Scourges, they used villains past the second half of the Scourge, and then of course they stuck kind of like with a cosmic mystic format. So I really don't think they're going to do that again. I don't know if they're going to repeat villains again. If they do, I will be very shocked. They might get a little more specific. Maybe they'll do like a villains. And as you guys see here, I put down on nodes 8 and 9 for the Hulk Scourge. I put a hybrid mix because we're not sure what they're going to do. So hybrid mix is what, I've seen an example is the last Scourge, they did a Cosmic Mystic category, which was like a hybrid mix. And then, of course, now the new Cosmic Crucible traits, they have like a Mystic City buff for the Mystic City characters. So Mystic City characters, for example, that would be like Cloak and Dagger. Characters that are Mystic, but they're in the City category as well. So they might do like, I'm not sure, maybe like a Mystic City, or maybe they'll do like villains, villains Mystic or villains Mutant or something. I'm not sure. Obviously they won't get as specific, like, for example, if they went with like Asgardians, Ravagers, Wave 1, that's a very specific team category. I can't see them doing that. So again, they have to kind of keep it within the broad categories. And if you look at the first couple nodes, heroes, global, city, mutants, it's a very, very broad category, and I can probably envision them sticking with something like bio or tech. That's why they got the question mark, because they are a broad category. Tech I can kind of see, because they're kind of getting everyone to work on your tech teams. And of course we've got the new revamped tech Avengers that is coming as well. Like I can see them bringing in a tech team just to kind of screw around with us for a bit, because they want us to waste our tech materials before before those guys come in. I don't know, it's just sadistic, right, or something. But I can see them doing that, or maybe a bio category. Lots of bio characters. Of course, we would be reusing web warriors, symbiotes, decent characters in that mix there as well, but could potentially happen. Or maybe they might have like a legendary category, because if you guys look here, they've covered city, they've covered city, they've covered villains, they've covered global, they've covered cosmic. Like, these are all Dark Dimension 5 categories, so it's very likely they might put like a legendary category. And of course, if they do, that's going to create some pretty OP teams, because lots of people will have strong legendaries like Morgan Le Fay, Omega Red, of course Rogue now. Rogue is the new one. So they might have a legendary category as well, but it's got to be a broad enough category that won't really target the smaller player base. I feel like they have to kind of keep it within the broad scope of it, similar to the categories they've picked, like I said, with mutants, global, city. Those are all pretty broad. And if they were to kind of pick like a very specific category, like, villains, controller, or something like that, I would be very surprised, because like I said, there's only like 4 or 5 characters for that. And of course, that's like also the Phoenix unlock characters, and nobody's gonna have, Nobu and whoever else you need leveled up for those nodes. So people would, probably tear them a new one if that happened. But ultimately, I think we're probably okay. I don't think these categories are ever the issue. There's always solutions. Obviously, with the first Scourge and the second Scourge, we were able to get through these nodes pretty easy. Like the city, the mutants, villains, those are all pretty nice gimmies for us, because there's a lot of great characters we can pick from. But it will be interesting to see what they do with this next Scourge and how they'll shape things up. And if they repeat some of the categories, that's great. Like I said, right now the only one that's been repeated is villains, and because they've already done it for the first two Scourges, I am very, very, I don't know. I'm kind of wondering if they'll do it again, just to give it to us, but I'm not really sure. So we'll see what happens, guys. We'll see what happens, but quite exciting. So we got Red Hulk. He's confirmed. You know, you got to level up your other guys now. I would say, you know, if you don't know who to level up right now, stick with the meta teams, which is Asgardians, because they're the kind of the new and current, you know, flavor of the month, let's call it, right now with all the buffs and stuff. But yeah, I probably wouldn't touch the other two teams until at least until we figure out what the data mine says and what the heck the nodes are going to consist of. But obviously, yeah, obviously, this is the Scourge trait recap for you guys, and hopefully this has helped you guys out, and hopefully you guys can start undergoing your planning and preparation and all that jazz. When it does come, when the Scourges do come, I'll do my best to get the videos out to you guys. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.